Oh my gosh. So you see how easy it is, like a magical wonderland? I just click a little button and all of a sudden we're live on this social media. And we're not
Nice.
supposed to be live until 1 o'clock. So we're ahead of the game. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. It's super hot, super busy, excited about this movie and the other stuff that's going on. So thanks again for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, Carlos. So here's the thing. I've been watching what you're doing and watching your progress on your Kickstarter and all of the buzz about your movie. And I was like, okay, I want to talk to Carlos, but I'm kind of booked up until July as far as, because I'm trying to only go live on Thursday. And so I was like, well, by then your Kickstarter will be over.
Next week, right?
So I was like, we need an emergency podcast for Carlos. So that's what this is. This is all about you today.
Nice. I love it. Who doesn't like to talk about themselves, right?
Well, I like to talk about tacos. I really love tacos.
Nice.
So I'm also really curious about the filmmaking side of tacos because I didn't even know that taco movies were a thing until you told me that taco movies are a thing. So where do we even begin?
Cool.
Should we start with Tacoma or tacos or your movie? Or should we mash them together? Because taco and Tacoma, do you see the mesh right there?
Exactly. It's a beautiful thing, right? It's destiny. I call it destiny. This is the city of destiny, Tacoma, right?
And the city of grit as well. It's the city of grit.
Sure. No doubt. And I got plenty of that too. So that's awesome. So I guess let me just rant for a little bit and then you throw in your questions and we'll play it by ear. That seems to be the buzzword today.
Are you gonna rap to me like Eminem? Or like Dr. Dre or Snoop Dogg?
I'm more of a B.I.G., Notorious B.I.G. kind of guy.
Okay, so rap me some B.I.G. about your movie. Make it a taco rap. Can you do that? In Spanish.
In Spanish.
Hola, pichola. There's this girl, sorry to switch up, but there's this girl, this rapper girl that's Spanish, and she's got like silver white hair, and she's like super, super sexy, and she's got this song, she's like Ratchet. Have you heard her?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, I love her so much, but I can't remember people's names, but she's magical. Anyways.
Yeah, but tacos, we'll start off with tacos, right? So next week, join us next Tuesday, June 8th, right, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. It'll be at Rico's Tacos right there on Orchard and Center. It's on Center Street. It's a taco truck, right? And known this guy for years, been going there for years. He's doing very well. He's upgrading actually to a taco bus. It's this huge thing. He showed me some video and some photos of it. But this is kind of like a farewell to this taco truck and also to do a fundraiser for the movie, right? The Taco Man, right? Or the Tacoman, right? And it's going to be awesome. You have some cool things that we're going to be doing. He's going to do like a Taco Man special, right? Giving away free sodas with every order. And then we'll be playing some music, just hanging out. So some people I haven't seen for a while are going to come through. We're just going to hang, have some good Mexican food, one of my favorite spots. Right, so make sure you make it out there. Put it on your calendars. Tuesday, June 8th, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. And then I don't know if you can put.
Wait, where's the location again? Say it one more time.
Yeah, so it's in Tacoma. It's like right on the border of Tacoma and Fircrest, right on Center Street and Orchard. Right, it's where there's a Lowe's and a Home Depot right around that street there.
Is that the ghetto, Carlos?
No, it's actually really nice. Fircrest.
Because I used to live up there. Well, Fircrest is, so here's the thing. You got ghetto on one side and you have Fircrest on the other. It's like all of the bougie people move to one side of the street and they're like, okay, this is our hood. And over here we go the speed limit. And then across the street, there's the gangsters. Because your movie is about gangsters. Like the gangsters met the mobsters. Well, you said mobsters. What the fuck is a mobster? Excuse my language, but keeping it real. A mobster versus a gangster, and are there really mobsters in Tacoma?
Well, now there is, right? Maybe they're underground, right? So they're coming out for this movie. So main difference, right? Gangster gangs, it's mobsters more affiliated, with the big families, right? And a little more sophistication in terms of their criminal activity. Right. Whereas gangsters are more, I don't give a fuck. Actually, I remember we can cuss on this, right? So we're good. I've been doing some other interviews and some other stuff, and you got to be careful what you say. But I know here it's anything goes, and
Yeah,
you
no, well,
relish.
almost anything. Like there's nothing involving fisting. I like comedy, Carlos, and your movie
Me
is a
too.
comedy,
Yes, action comedy.
right?
So join us for the tacos. We'll be having a great time there. And then let me tell you a little bit about the movie, right? So the Taco Man, right? It is about a guy, taco truck owner, that gets his truck stolen by the mob, right? And he goes through how to try to get him back, right? That's the synopsis or the log line, it's called. And in our filmmaking parlance, right, is the long line, just one sentence description of what the movie's about, right? It is an action comedy. So we have some really cool scenes, funny scenes. Rewriting the script right now to include an additional role. So we're gonna have some amazing characters, right? Are there mobsters in Tacoma? Maybe. Have I met some? Maybe. I don't know if people are out there like say, "Hey, I'm
So,
a mobster." Right? I don't know if it's a business card. You give somebody a business card, say, "Hey, I'm a mobster," but I guess it's that
Carlos,
that lifestyle.
though, some OG gangsters. I've
Oh,
never
hell
met
yeah,
a mobster in Tacoma, but I've met some gangsters. But I was trying
yeah,
to figure out whether or not we actually have true cholos. Do you think we have cholos here?
yeah. So there's a lot of transplants from like Los Angeles and other areas in California. See, a lot of people seem to be moving to this area, right? It's a beautiful place, right? And then a friend of mine a while back joked, he's like, "Hey, man, we're trying to keep Tacoma on the down low. We don't want to let people know that it's really nice out here, right?" So, because this film is about that, right? Showcasing the beauty of Tacoma, highlighting some of the beautiful architecture, some of the beautiful people, and just what makes Tacoma unique, right? And here I am, right, representing Tacoma, right? So it's all about Tacoma, the city. It's my love letter to the city because I'm originally from East LA, from Los Angeles, right? I'm born and raised around gangsters, right? Never joined a gang myself, but I was always a lone wolf. But I knew a lot of gangsters. You had to, right? Because you couldn't walk down certain streets unless you knew somebody from that hood, right? Or else you're gonna get jumped or robbed or something like that, right? So I always made friends. So I was always networking, from a very early age. So knew a lot of different gangsters and people from different hoods. And moved up here almost 20 years ago. And this place has been amazing. Our families flourished here. We're part of this community. Has been very supportive over the years, and it kicks ass. It's just been changing over the years. More people keep moving here, right? And whenever family visits that've never been here before, they say, "Wow, we see why you love this place," right? We own a nice little house over here outside of Tacoma, but I live in University Place, but I claim Tacoma, right? Just to maintain my street cred, got to do that, right? So I
Yeah.
always claim Tacoma, and this place has just been awesome. I ran a very successful boutique advertising agency for years, and now I'm just transitioning to more film and television production.
So I love that you are just as in love with this city as I am. I grew up out in Steamboat Island, which is past Olympia, and which is kind of like it's kind of country is what I would say. We would say if we were going into town, we'd go into town. I went to high school in town. The bus ride was like an hour, So I grew up out in the country, and then I spent most of my adult life in the Olympia and Lacey area until the meth heads took over. No, I moved to Tacoma about 2 years ago, specifically because I was hoping to find love. Because there's no eligible bachelors in Olympia or Thurston County. There's no eligible bachelors. So I moved to Tacoma to find love, and I did. I fell in love with the city, and I also fell in love with my current boyfriend, who is absolutely, his name's Ben, just so you know. Did you meet, you haven't met Ben?
I haven't met Ben yet, no.
So
I'm sure we're at some point. Bring him for some tacos.
Yeah. I know. I'm really excited. I've been to one of your events that you were holding for fundraising, and you are the best host ever. I had one of the best nights of my life. It's been years since I've had that much fun. I came home with the biggest smile. So I know that you know how to kick it. You know how to chill. You know how to, you salt of the earth, down to earth people. I love your crowd and your crew.
Thank you.
Approachable.
Absolutely. Chill. Just having a good time, right? Life's too crazy, and you got to enjoy the journey. That's what I always say, right? So I'm definitely a guy that knows how to have a good time, right? I'm always throwing parties. As a matter of fact, I'll be throwing a barbecue here Hopefully, it'll probably be after July, but I'm gonna invite some people over. If you don't make it, hopefully you get a chance to come through because there's gonna be some really cool people here hanging out. Right, we're gonna have a little barbecue, have a good time, and you get a chance to check out the villa. We're here where we chill.
So, Carlos, I'm thinking about your Kickstarter that you have in regards to fundraising for your movie, The Taco Man. And I know that you have to hit your goal, which is 25,000. You have to hit that 25,000 or it's nothing. You get not a penny. And right now, because I've been watching it kind of like I watched the stock market, actually the crypto market. I've been seriously watching your progress, and I was like, well, because I told you that right now my funds are tied up. I'm heavily leveraged is the word.
Absolutely.
I'm leveraged. And so, for me, one of the things I can help you with is exposure, marketing, getting the word about what you're doing, right?
Yeah,
but what is going to happen if you don't hit that goal? That money goes back to people.
Correct.
But you're not going to quit, right?
Of course not. No. Oh, so let me tell you a little bit of background about this film and where we're at, right? Because it's definitely been a long journey, right? And it's going to be even longer journey, right? Because, even when you make the film, it's not over, right? Yeah, you still have to, like you say, market, right? Advertise it, get out there, do interviews, do, the media rounds, do the festival rounds. It's just a tremendous amount of work, but I wouldn't want to be doing anything else, right? I do what I love to do, right? And I don't even consider it work. I consider it play, so it's amazing to have this opportunity to be able to tell stories and make films and documentaries and everything else that I focus on, right? So the genesis of the film, real quick. So probably about 10, 11 years ago, right? Somebody shared one of their films on Facebook specifically, right? Social media. And I shared it. I say, hey, support, our local filmmaker, a fellow Tacoman, right? And I'm like, I started looking at that post. And I'm like, interesting. Tacoma looks like Taco Man, right? So that was the seed. That's how the film started, right? Supporting a fellow filmmaker, right? Sharing his film and just helping to get out. Because, a like, share, comment, that doesn't cost you anything, right? So I'm always, supportive of other filmmakers. I know how hard it is, right? So I appreciate it when people support me and help me out, right? And I always return the favor or pay it forward even, right? So a couple of years passed by, and I'm thinking of a project. I'm like, I got to make a movie, right? And I'm like thinking Taco Man. I'm like, you know what? I want to make a movie about Tacoma, right? I want to see if we can put Tacoma on the filmmaking map, right? Just because, even when I tell people I'm from Tacoma or I live in Tacoma, they always introduce me, oh, it's Carlos from Seattle. And I'm like, no, not Seattle, Tacoma, right? We're in Tacoma, it's completely different, right? So it's kind of like that weird thing, right? Nobody really knows, right, where Tacoma is, or maybe they heard it somewhere, but they don't even know anything about it, right? So I'm like, cool, let's make a film that'll showcase the beauty of Tacoma, right? The talent of this area and the things that we have to offer, right? Let's make a movie about it. So and then I thought the Taco Man, right? And I'm thinking, all right, well, how can I? And I'm kind of telling you my creative process, right? And this happened, throughout weeks, months, maybe even years, right? And I'm like, how can I get him to go to different places so we can look at different areas of Tacoma, right? Highlight different, beautiful locations. And I'm like, well, what if they steal his truck and he runs around Tacoma trying to get it back, right? So that was the genesis of it, right? So made a short film, like about 10 years ago, right? As a sort of proof of concept, right? So like that we can make a feature film. So really the main strategy and the vision is to make this feature film, right? And then turn it into a TV series so we can produce it here locally in Tacoma, right? There's this funny thing. There's this show, I don't know if it's still around, but it's called Tacoma FD, right? Tacoma Fire Department, right? And it's all shot in Los Angeles, right? Maybe a little bit of like, exterior location shooting out here, right? And even some of the scenes that have like palm trees in the background, and they'll just have like a couple photos on the walls that represent, Tacoma, right? But none of it is shot here, right? It's the guys from Super Troopers. Cost, money, right? Because it'll cost one, and this is part of the reason why we're doing this, and this is the movement, right? Why we want to bring more productions here, specifically to Tacoma, but Washington State in general. So we don't have the infrastructure, right? We don't have the roster of crew and workers, right? So if there was to come here in Tacoma, a show was to come here and they required 1,000 people, right? And a lot of them, highly skilled in filmmaking, we probably couldn't meet that demand, right? That's kind of where we're at right now. But
That
also,
sounds like a good problem to have, though, because if there's a need, which it sounds like there is need, and there's somebody that's willing to do the legwork to make that happen, you know what I mean?
yeah, for sure, for sure. So the thing is that we don't have the skilled people. In LA, you're in Los Angeles, you have 50,000 people to choose from. Here in Tacoma, maybe you have 50 people, right? Maybe 1,000 people, right? Because I belong to this different filmmaking groups here in the area, right? And most of them are between 1,000 and 2,000 members. You do something in California or Los Angeles, you're having 50,000, 100,000 member groups, right? So that just goes to show you, right, the pool of talent and also crew and skilled labor, specifically for film, right, and television production. That's the difference there, right? So really, it's the cost, right? It costs them less to shoot it in a studio in a back lot, right, and they have all their people there, right, all their talent, all their crew, all of that. To come up here would actually cost more and be more of a logistical nightmare, to be honest, right? To be able to shoot something here locally.
So I was reading up on your Kickstarter and your presentation as far as the funds allotted, and I do believe that you were saying that you were going to use that money to go to California to petition people there. Am I right?
Well,
Did I read
not
right?
necessarily California. So actually, so what I'm doing with these funds is paying for the attorney, right, to do all the different agreements and contracts and negotiating, right, because we are going to have at least one Latino star in this film, right? But everything else, all the other talent would be local talent, right? Actors and people here locally, right? Unfortunately, the business model, it requires some sort of named actor, right, to be able to have some marketability, quote unquote, right, or commercial appeal, however you want to label it or spin it, right. So I am going to bring one Latino actor. So that's the other thing that I'm going to do, is be able to lock in, right, and attach a star to the project, and then after that, it'll be a lot easier to raise funds, right. And it's kind of like a catch-22, right. What came first, right? The financing or the talent actor, right? And it's chicken or the egg kind of thing, right? Which is the biggest problem filmmakers have, right? Well, I don't have the money to pay for the actors, right? And the people with the money won't give me the money unless I have actors on board, right? So it's like, well, how do I figure that out, right? So that's part of my process and what I'm going to show, right? And I'll give you a little idea of what that is, and that's contingency agreements, right? We can go to the investor and say, hey, here's our presentation, here's our business plan, here's everything, which is what I'm putting together with this money, right? Pitch deck, pitch video, business plan, script breakdown, the whole package, right? We're developing the project. I think that's one of the things that most filmmakers, fail to do extensively, is properly develop the project, right? Most are like, get out there, run and gun, right? Try to figure things along the way, right? But it's really important to develop the project so it has commercial appeal, right? And it also speaks to the investors, right? The people with the money, right? And then there's some different approaches that I'll explain in more detail, in our behind the scenes, because I'm actually making a behind the scenes documentary as a way to show our process, and then also hopefully inspire others. Say, hey, look, this is how we did it, right? There's 1,000 ways to skin a cat, but hopefully this will provide you with some insight. So like that, you can probably do the same thing, right? And model yourself after our process, right? So once you have that, you can present it, right, to the investors. Investors say, sounds good. If you can attach this name, we'll give you X amount of dollars, right? All right, cool. Put that money into an escrow account, right? And then at that point, you could go to an actor, an agent, manager, or attorney, right? One of their attorney to say, hey, we have a solid offer. Here's the script. Here's the money. We want you to be a part of this project. Okay, now they'll take you serious, right? Now they know you understand the game. Right now, they know that you are a professional, right, and not coming with half-baked ideas and something that's not properly developed, right, or any money behind it, right. So at that point, you can attach the star, and then things start rolling from there, right? Because at that point, you have a major, celebrity, right, attached to your project, and at that point, it's a lot easier to raise additional funds or get the project moving forward. Mm-hmm.
So your goal currently is to raise enough money to hire an attorney initially.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have an attorney in mind?
I have several. Yeah, I have several attorneys that I work with now. Yeah, and there's some others that I'm considering.
How do you research something like that?
Well, I have a huge network of people, right? I have different groups that I belong to, right? I talk to other filmmakers, successful filmmakers. I have mentors in the industry, right? People that are pretty powerful, right? In Hollywood specifically, right? So I talk to them. I say, hey, what's an attorney you recommend, right? Who's the go-to person? Who's highly connected? Because you want a power attorney, right? Somebody that knows, the game, somebody that knows the lingo, somebody that has those connections, right? That's essentially, other than just, putting together paperwork, you're really relying on their network and the people that they know within Hollywood to be able to connect with the other attorneys and the other, representatives of the celebrities or talent that you're looking to attach, right? So there's a variety of ways. And bottom line, research, right? Do your research. I interview attorneys. Hey, why should I pick you? It's not just them picking me as well, right? It's a mutual thing, right? So I'm always interviewing people. Hey, who are your connections? What value do you bring to the table, right? What justifies, your $400 to, $500 an hour, right? And that huge retainer you're going to ask for, right? So that's what you got to do. Got to do your due diligence, right? A lot of people don't want to put that in, but me, I work my ass off, right, to make sure stuff happens.
Well, it seems like that $25,000 is going to spend really quickly, especially if you're trying to get, you ultimately want to get a celebrity, and what does a celebrity even cost? And could you cut costs by maybe getting somebody that's an influencer or somebody that just falls in love with your script and wants to do it because they love the script so much?
Sure. Yeah. Keep in mind, there's probably like 1 million, other screenwriters and filmmakers and other people that are approaching them, right? So it's kind of hard to, get through the noise, get through the walls, get through the gatekeepers, right? But sure, yeah, if you have friends, I have some friends that are celebrities for sure, and say, hey, can you be part of this project? But are they, the right fit for the project as well, right? But at least I can leverage, those connections, those relationships that I have. Say, hey, can you connect me with such and such person, right? Like, I know you have worked with them in the past. You probably have, their cell phone in your, with no more Rolodex, right? But in your contacts, right? And be able to, make a connection, make an introduction, right? So a lot of it is just relationship building. That's really important, right? Building those relationships, right? Building your team, building your tribe, right? There's people I've worked with for 5, 10, 20 plus years, right? And they're very successful. They work in Hollywood. I won't name any names. I'm not a name dropper unless it's necessary.
Why not? Why don't you drop it? Is dropping names really a bad thing? Because I want to tell everybody, I know Carlos Ortiz. And if I did say that, is that a bad thing, or is that like marketing? You'd be like, oh yeah, I know Carlos. Don't you know Carlos? We all know Carlos.
Right. So, and what I mean is like drop names, like celebrity names, right? Because I do know several celebrities, but the reason why I learned the hard way, right? Because people know, somebody, you be like, hey man, can you, introduce me? Can you make a connection, stuff like that, right? Can you get them to be in my movie, right? And it's difficult, right? It's a personal relationship. So you want to kind of keep personal and business separate for the most part, right? And it's not up to me, right? Whether they get rejected or not. And I've had that happen before, right? And it kind of comes back to me. Oh, well, let me talk to them. I can convince them. I'm like, man, it doesn't work that way. It's not the way it is, right? And they already said no for whatever. So it puts me in an awkward position sometimes, right? To be able to say that I know somebody, because and then you'll have people hit you up. It's happened before. They'll be like, hey, can you introduce me to that person? Can you connect me? Can you pass along my script, right? And that's not good etiquette, right? That's not a proper way to approach things, right? That's why I was saying that it's better to follow this process so they know you're a professional, so they know you understand the game, and they know that you know what that process looks like, right? So like that, things are done properly.
Got it. So Carlos, we've gotten a couple comments, so I'm gonna highlight them.
Sure.
Walter says, this guy is pretty driven. Amber, unlike your couch potato ass. LOL, just kidding. So yeah, I have a muffin top right now because I have been sitting on my ass. I've been trying to exercise and it's hurting me. I can barely walk today, but I certainly will make it to the refrigerator. And then Diana says, awesome, praying you'll connect with more of our gent, Carlos. Gracias por todo su trabajo. So Diana knows some cholos.
All right.
Deanna and I know each other from back in the day
All right.
because
Yeah.
you grew up in LA, right? You
East
said
LA.
LA.
East
And
LA.
when I ran away from home, Tacoma was to Compton. It was
Right.
the hood. I mean, it has been gentrified like a mother effer. Do you see how I censored
Yeah.
myself right there? So
Absolutely. That was good.
I have been paying attention to Taco Man and actually reading about the characters, etc., because I love the city. I also love the Latino culture. I love
Okay.
Spanish. My first husband was and is Mexican. He's not dead. He just loves somebody else now. So
It
the
happens.
food, the dancing, like
Yeah.
all of it. It's amazing.
Great
So
culture.
for me, your movie is a treat, and I'm like, oh my gosh. It also seems like Mission Impossible because when you talk about, connecting with the right people, making the money that you need to make a film go.
Hmm.
$25,000 is not enough, and right now you're at 6,000, correct?
About 6,000 and a
And
little bit over
and you
40
have
chapters.
8 more days until your
Hmm.
Kickstarter is.
Yep.
So you
How are
need
we gonna
bigger
do it?
backing.
Exactly. So that's what I'm working on right now. Reason why I gotta go drop off these flyers, right? Is so we're doing the 3,500 perk, right, which is the executive producer level, right? And normally that's $5,000, but for this Kickstarter campaign, we're actually bringing it down to $3,500, and it includes a whole perk package, right? Different rewards, tickets to the world premiere that'll be here in Tacoma, right at the Cinemark on Ruston Way. Beautiful, beautiful theaters there, right? You'll get, to be part of the wrap party. You'll get executive producer credit on the movie, right? If you have a business, we'll promote your business, right? Put the logo on our banner, the website, social media, etc. Right? And we only have 3 spots left. So we had 5, close 2, we have 3 left. So if we get those 3 more, right, to come through, we should be able to hit our goal, right? So that's really the main focus right now. So any business owners, anybody out there, right, that wants to be a part of the film, and then we have other levels, right? 250 gets you a ticket, wrap party, right? Pick you up on the party bus and all that good stuff, right? For the world premiere, it's gonna be awesome. We'll have searchlights. We're gonna go all out, right? This is our goal, really, is to put Tacoma on the filmmaking map, right? That's a goal. And it takes all of us to do that, right? I can't do it by myself, right? And I do have some amazing people that are already part of the project that I'll be announcing after this Kickstarter campaign, right? As we go into more pre-production development and then pre-production, right? So be a part of it. 250 or $100, you can be an extra in the film, right? I get to see the film before everybody else, right? We're gonna have a great time. It's gonna be an awesome journey, but we gotta, go on this journey together. I can't do it by myself. So hopefully you can go to the tacomanmovie.com, which is our website. It'll, redirect you over to the Kickstarter campaign. Check out the perks. Check out the simple video that I put together for that, and then show your support. Right? If you really want to watch this film, let's do this. And like you, right, you took some action. You helped me out here by sharing my story and sharing this campaign and what we're doing with this film with your audience. So I appreciate it.
Carlos, I love how polished you are and on point you are. I love that you know exactly when to put your website in the plug. Like I said, I was like, oh my goodness, this is all about you today. And yeah, I definitely would love to help in any way that I can. I love tacos. I also have a great deal of admiration and respect for you as a businessman within the community. Like I said, the first event that I attended, I was picked up in the party bus, and I happened to know that the party bus was for me as a writer, and it was magic. I just had the absolute best time with good people, and so I want you to succeed. I would love to help in any way that I can. I'm working to make my millions so that I could be like, hey, Carlos, you want to make a movie? But I'm not there yet myself. So it's all about the hustle and the grind and the grit, right? The grit. We're in Grit City, Tacoma, the city of destiny. Have you reached out to any of the Tacoma, city of Tacoma type people and kind of plugged it as a marketing potential for them yet?
Yeah, for sure. I've met with the mayor a couple times over the years, right? So, like I said, this has been a process, right? I even had, before the previous mayor, I met with her, right? And she was supportive, right? And then this new mayor, loves the idea, loves the story, right? They're going through some crazy times right now, though, right? Some incidences that happen, and I'm working with them also, right? They're a client, so I do some work for them. You know, we're going to be doing some promotional videos for the city of Tacoma. So there is that relationship, you know, with the city, you know, and they reached out to me. They love the work that I've done in the past. They saw some of my commercials and some of the work that I did with the health department, right? So they're definitely aware of who I am, you know, and the different officials. You know, I do a lot of community work. So I work with the, you know, city. I work with Pierce County, the health department, you know, different nonprofit organizations, right? And that's the other thing. My goal ultimately, we're going to be launching a nonprofit for creative professionals and scientists, right? This sort of say, and then I'll say it the way you might appreciate it. So imagine this: the YMCA, right? Boys and Girls Club, right? And Big Brothers Big Sisters, if they were to have a menage a trois and birth a baby, they would have this innovation center, right? So what it is, right? It's a cultural arts, technology, and innovation center. And within that innovation center, we're going to build a state-of-the-art film, television, and music production studio, right? A major game changer for the Northwest. Definitely a game changer for us here, you know, in Pierce County. The thing is, the city of Lakewood is taking the lead on that. You know, they already identified a couple sites along the I-5 corridor where we can set aside about 5 acres to build this innovation center. So that's the other thing I'm working on, right? So this film is just the very beginning, right, of what we're going to accomplish here in the next 3, 5, 10 years, right? We're going to be a major production hub here in Washington State, and I'm at the forefront of that.
I love that. So I think that's
Mhm.
absolutely the perfect place to end this, because I know you said, hey, Amber, I've got other things I got to get to today, but I really am glad that we both took the time to make this happen. Deanna made one more comment. She said, I love listening. Thank you, Amber Garibay and Carlos.
Thanks, Diana. Muchas gracias.
I will I will definitely be keeping in touch with you. I'm going to end this live video now. And thank you so much for your time today.
Awesome. Thank you. The TacoManMovie.com. Check it out. Share it. Appreciate your support.
All right. Bye, Carlos.
Bye-bye. Take care.